Let's try this again. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Cure for the Common Game. We're going to do our show the spreadsheet one more time. I don't know what happened to the last one. You got me, but we got it figured out now, right? So this is the spreadsheet that I have been using for a long time now to keep track of what commanders I have built. Simply because there are so many. And currently there are 944 possible decks. Now, here's how I have it done. Okay, obviously the set name and the number of legal commanders. Like there are 10 in Jumpstart here. If you look over here at Ikoria, I've got 22. That's not counting the Lutri, because the Lutri is banned. That's not an option. So the 22 does not include a Lutri. There's 23. Now, for things like the partners here on Ikoria Commander, Brawlin and Shabraz there, yes, that is 2 cards and technically 2 legendary creatures, and I could have built 2 separate decks. But let's face it, they were designed, in my mind, the partners are one commander split across 2 cards. That's just how I interpret it, because they are designed to go together, to operate as one. So in my mind, that's one deck. So now, granted, this 944 here is not the number you're going to get when you search Scryfall or Gather for legendary creatures. It's not, because you're going to get things like, let's go over here to like unstable. All those are red, so obviously that number there is 0. This 944 is a sum. Like, say we get 30 more in Zendikar Rising, well, that's automatically going to total in there. So obviously the green I have done right here. So I am done with Theros Beyond Death. And here, let's go back and tell the story. This is Arabian Nights. Now, Alpha, Beta, the core set, Alpha, Beta, Unlimited, Revised, Fourth, and so on, they did not have legendary creatures until the very first core set that had legendary creatures was 10th edition. And of course, that's the last core set that was 100% reprint. So all 5 of those legends, it was 5 monocolors, they were already on the list somewhere else. But obviously, Arabian Nights and Antiquities did not have it, because Legends in June of 94 is what brought us the whole mechanic of legendary permanents. And as you can see, 55, that's a bunch. That's a big old long list. Now, the blue versus black writing there, that is, the blue indicates those are cards that I know I do not have. I say that, but that's a Lady of the Mountain, and that's common. I'm pretty sure. I'll have to check into that one. But, so there were no legends in the Dark or Fallen Empires. We got Ice Aged, we got 4. Used to be, back in the day, that was about the average, and then Homelands, of its many problems, it had 14 legends, which were, pretty much Baron Singer, alliances, and so forth. And, there were sets, of course, Visions had none. And as we go over, we get to Portal 3 Kingdoms. Portal 3 Kingdoms this is going to be the biggest challenge of this entire undertaking, is because these cards are very difficult to find. There are 31 of them. Now, I've got some of them done. Pretty much the ones that have been reprinted in some, auxiliary product. But, for the most part, some of these are very, very expensive just because of scarcity. These cards are not powerful at all. And my only hope is that these are not bound by the reserve list, because none of these cards are on the reserve list. I'm hoping that eventually they get reprinted, but let's face it, it has been 20 years and they have not been reprinted yet. So, and there's probably not a need for them to be reprinted because they're not good playable cards. So I may have to just, that's probably where my, a chunk of my money is going to be spent, is just getting Portal 3 Legends. Now, once we get into like the storyline now, we're starting to see more legends with, actual characters in that particular story arc. Odyssey, and we go through. Overall, I mean, I have got a bunch done. Now, Kamigawa was it wasn't quite Legends at 46, 28, and 28, but it was, why are those no, because that one's banned. That's why. Okay. There's a bunch there, too. We get out of Kamigawa, we go to Ravnica, and I've slowly been, little by little, getting there. Hold on, is that right? I have not done a single deck from Rise of the Eldrazi. Drana, Kozilek, Linvala, Tuk Tuk, Ulamog. Huh. Wow. That's odd. Then we started getting commander sets in 2011. Now, the very first commander set, I'll be honest with you, I passed on. I did not purchase any of that product because I honestly didn't know if they could do it effectively. And as it turned out, there were new cards. So I didn't pre-order any. So when it came out, I had to purchase. I purchased a set aftermarket after the initial thing was already over. But the only set I could get was a foreign language. So I have got all of these cards. But the problem is they're new at the time. And I didn't realize that. So yeah, I haven't committed those cards to memory. You know what I'm saying? So it's easy to play foreign language cards when it's a lightning bolt or a counterspell or whatever. But when it's a card with a completely new mechanics, I don't know. So then, of course, we're into the more sets. Conspiracy brought us some. And now we're into, because Commander skipped. It did 2011, skipped 2012, and then into Commander 2013. Where's Plane Chase was the 2012 multiplayer release. And then Commander was such a big hit, they come back with it in 13 and have done it every year since. So, Magic Origins, I got on it as soon as it was released, because that's what I have found out as you go on here. You can start telling when I started the channel. I started the channel right about here. November of 2016. That's when, before then, I was just some crazy guy that had, 80 or so, decks, like you do. But because deck number one was Atraxa. I've rebuilt that a couple times over the years, but this is where the channel actually started in the timeline. So going forward, you'll see as a new set came out, I got right on it. Being exceptions here and there with, Mathis and Lannery and Teague. But for the most part, even Dominaria with 44, I've only got 3 left. Bells and Lock, I can't really decide if I just want to play, if I want to do Bells and Lock things, or if I want to do like Insta Wins. Why do I not have the date up there? Did I just forget the date? Evidently so. I'll have to go back and get the release date. But since I started the channel, I have been on, because I've noticed that the newer decks, when a set comes out and a set is hot, It's still currently being, either previewed or the set is just released. The videos will do better. They'll get more views, likes, what have you. So I try to stay with what's current. And as I get caught up with what's current, I'll go back and, am I done with Theros? I guess I am because it's all green. Sweet. As I get caught up with what they're releasing, I'll go back and do the older ones I'm missing, the Hogaks and the Chainers of the world. But the only problem is, this is 2020, the year of Commander. Now, last year when we all heard 2020, the year of the Commander, we all got excited. And if it was just the year of Commander, it would be awesome instead of the year the world was on fire or whatever. But a lot of things going on in 2020, not just the year of Commander. Although, my opinion, and for what it's worth, my opinion is that it being the year of Commander and Commander players is what has kept this game afloat through these past, 6-8 months of very, very tough times for a non-essential business. I mean, yes, humans have to have entertainment, but we don't have to spend money on Magic. We can play with the cards we've got, right? So in theory, everybody could stop buying Magic cards tomorrow and Wizards would go out and we would never have any new Magic cards. I mean, that's a real possibility. But Commander players has pretty much what's been keeping the game afloat, because we're not having standard FNMs or modern Grand Prix. We're playing Commander at the house and over webcam. Probably one of the reasons why webcams are out everywhere. But and as a new set comes out, I will just add a column in there, and like Zendikar Rising, Jumpstart. I'm still waiting for the release of Jumpstart. Let that sink in a little bit. Yeah, it technically has been released, but they told us there is more product on the way, because the prices for Jumpstart, the CO product, and these have all been very, very inflated. So I'm going to wait until another wave, because some of the, like I have an Emil and I think I have a Kells. Those are the 3 that I pulled, but the other 7, I mean, Tiny Bones is expensive. A lot of them are. So that's money that I'm not going to dump into a single in-print new card. I'll wait. I'll wait on it. More Jumpstart will happen. We don't know when, and we don't know how much. But saving that money for Zendikar Rising, because my opinion here is Zendikar Rising. Now, they planned this year of Commander. Obviously, they operate several years in the future. So, prediction time as to how many legendary creatures in Commander Rising. I'm going to guess, because Ikoria had 22. And if we look back, 20 seems to be about, well, I mean, heck, even the Commander sets. 19 had 16 and 20 had 15. Or you could count 20 if you wanted to do that. So I'm going to guess 20 for Zendikar Rising. Now, Commander Legends, whoa, that's a whole different animal altogether. We know from what they said there are over 70 new legends. Now, the way they worded that gives me pause, because the way they worded that was 70 new legends. Now, that's including planeswalkers, so they've stated that, so it stands to believe that it's also including legendary artifacts and legendary lands and legendary enchantments. Those things can't be commanders unless they print that line of text on there. So I am full well expecting in Commander Legends another cycle of planeswalkers that can be your commander. Heck, it's very possible they reprint the originals or any of the ones that they've already done. Because what do we have, 12? We have 12 total planeswalkers that can be your commander. So that's the thing. but that wouldn't count as part of the over 70 new legends. So, and as much as they've been pushing the boundaries with stuff like mutate and companion and things like that, do we feel like that they're going to have a legendary enchantment or a legendary land? Or even they come real close in the unset, and we all know the unsets are testing grounds for real magic. Because over the years, we've seen a lot of, silver border ideas come to black border. So is there going to be an artifact, a legendary artifact with the line that says this can be your commander? What was that, the all know, I don't buy a lot of uncards or play with a lot of uncards because it takes up mental real estate, you know what I'm saying? I don't know if I can explain that. It's kind of the reason why I don't look at threads with like made up cards and stuff like that, because I don't want to get those cards in my memory banks and then be building decks later and be like, oh, there's this perfect card that no, that's not real or it's not legal or whatever. So I try not to look at that because I have a pretty good working knowledge of the history of Magic cards, and I don't want to cloud that with cards that I can't use. So, like when they pre-banned Lutri here, I can't even tell you what Lutri does. I did not take the time to learn it because I was like, well, can't use it. It's banned in Commander. That's my only format. I'm not going to learn it. So, but I think it's possible that we get that legendary artifact. Or how wild would it be for a legendary land or a legendary enchantment that says this can be your commander? Now, however we feel about that, in the spirit of commander and, legendary creature, that's all fine and good. They are looking for innovation, and they're looking, obviously, by what they've done here, to do things never been done before. Because there's only so much design space on a Magic card, so they've got to come up with something. We got to have that shocker, right? And in every set there's pretty much a shocker of a mechanic, of a few cards, a cycle, a whatever. There's something wildly different in every set. And Commander Legends is going to be a giant set. It is a supplementary product, so it doesn't take up a normal set release. This may be one of the bigger supplemental products that they've ever made. Now, as I recall, they don't print as much supplemental products as they do. Now, this is going to be a more expensive set. It will be a 20-card pack. So is Jumpstart, though. So Jumpstart was 20-card pack. So pricing, I don't know. Who knows? But I figure the only other parallel that we've got to go on is the last 20-card product we had was Jumpstart. Now, granted, Commander Legends is going to have a full in every pack, and we won't have, 7 basic lands per pack, I hope. But Jumpstart needed that because of its shtick of, 2-deck shuffle up play. But I don't know. Anyway, this is my spreadsheet, and this is how I keep track. I get a deck done, and I'll turn it green. There are actually, if you would like to kill a little time, spoiler-wise, there are 8 decks that I have done that y'all have not seen. Deck number 600 through 607, and those are all green. If you've got just a killer amount of time and want to go through and match up the decks I have published versus the decks that are on this list, you can pick out those those 8. Although, more than likely, you're going to see them. I'll do them by the time you get that project finished. Just something funny. As usual, I post everything on Archidect. There's no deck today to actually post on Archidect. Once again, I apologize greatly for the sound issues on the other one. I had done that. It's completely and totally my fault. Yeah, definitely could have been planned better. Yeah. But the idea is I have got this new program and I am learning how to use it. So that is a lesson learned, as it were. But I appreciate it, and hey, this is just something I came up with. If somebody's got a better or more suggestions, or feel free, let me know, because the way I look at it, we're all in this quest together. Yeah, this is a thing that nobody's ever done. I never would have thought 4 years ago that I would be here at 600 decks. Yeah, I was, because I think at the time when I started, there was only like, what was it, 450 or 500 total. And I was like, yeah, that's doable. I wasn't thinking that this format that I love so much that the whole world would embrace and then Wizards would take notice. So I appreciate all of y'all. Thank y'all so much for watching and enduring while I learn how to do this, because I'll be honest with you, 4 years ago I flipped the camera on and it was, if you go back and look at some of those first videos, the camera was, the video was bad quality. I had a lot of glare. I've come a long way, and I have, it's largely been self-taught or taught by y'all. I get a lot of comments on, how to do things better. I know Phil DeLuca over at Commander and Podcast, he helped me greatly with a lot of things in just one day. But it's trial and error. I'll be honest with you. I err a lot, but learn from them, and, up as go. So that is, and I do appreciate the all of the comments and shares and stuff like that. I had no idea that, I was thinking that y'all were watching for the decks, and when I saw the comments to the last video, it being Brian's voice is the reason why, and I get it. This is probably a good video to, like, you don't have to watch the screen because it's kind of boring spreadsheet stuff. But anyway, I appreciate y'all listening, watching, and a big shout out. Thank you to all the patrons, because quite frankly, a lot of this would not have been possible. I do really appreciate it. And the watches, the views, the shares, the comments, all of that affects the algorithm, which remains the most mysterious thing on the planet in my mind. But thank you so much. I'm rambling now, so I'm going to go. Y'all have a good night.